Hello guys, I'm back. This is my NFC predictions. If you haven't seen my AFC predictions, they were there just before. So go check it out after or before this video. But NFC is going to be exciting also, but maybe not as exciting as AFC, but still very exciting. Let's start off in the NFC East, and this is a better division than it used to be a couple years ago before we called it the NFC Least. But let's start with fourth place, the Giants. I read some bad stats last season. They were horrendous offensively, and it was to cry for. Honestly, that offense last year was pathetic. I think it was 31st in the NFL, but honestly, that looked like it would be the worst in the NFL. It was boring to watch. I mean, they literally ran a 3rd and 9 run, a quarterback sneak. I mean, come on. Key players include Andrew Thomas, Leonard Williams, Xavier McKinney. Of course, Daniel Jones is in a make or break year, but to be honest, I think even if he makes it this year, it's still gonna be a break year. Like he's gonna leave after this season. He would have to have Mahomes stats to stay, in my opinion. Saquon Barkley also make or break year. He needs to show that he's really good. That like his rookie year, the offensive line is gonna have to hold up. The offensive line got better, of course, and they have Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal from the draft. They drafted Evan Neal. Receiving core Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, Kenny Galladay looks uninterested. It's a rough offense. Defensively, Leonard Williams is decent. They cut Blake Martinez, but they got Tate Crowder. They got, of course, Kayvon Thibodeau, very good young defensive lineman, and Xavier McKinney is a great safety, to be honest, like a great one. Next is the Washington Commanders. I think they'll finish third. Last year, I predicted them to finish in the playoffs. I'm very disappointed in them last year. But they had some injuries. I thought their defense was going to be one of the best in the NFL. Turns out, no, it was not one of the best in the NFL. It was a bad defense. 7-10 is still an okay. At least they'll be in the playoff race. They got, of course, Carson Wentz. Let's see. It's kind of a make or break year also for him because if he breaks here, then yeah, I don't see where he starts in the NFL. But I think it's okay. They of course got Antonio Gibson, who has some fumbling issues, but he's still a decent running back. They got, of course, Terry McLaurin, who got a new deal with them. At wide receiver, he's a great wide receiver. Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, who's a rookie. Logan Thomas is back. We'll see how he does. Offensive line is decent, nothing special. They're better, of course, defensively than offensively, in my opinion. Jonathan Allen is a great DT. And then they also got Chase Young, who's on the PUP list to start, but still all around he's gonna get back during the season. And they have a decent like Landon Collins got released. Still hasn't signed with anyone. I'm pretty shocked. He's still a free agent right now. They got Kendall Fuller though. He's a decent cornerback. It's nothing special in this team. And Ron Rivera is a good coach, by the way. And by the way, Brian Dabble, we don't know yet if he's gonna be a good coach or not for the Giants. Second, the Dallas Cowboys 9-8. Just they got worse during this. They lost Amari Cooper. They lost Tyron. Like Tyron Smith is, I think, injured for the season, right? I think he's out for the season, or at least for most of the season. Offensive line who La'el Collins left. Got traded. No, got released. Another offensive line left. Defensively, I don't think they got much worse, but offensively, they got quite a bit worse. CeeDee Lamb's the only good wide receiver for now until Michael Gallup is back. I think he's on the PUP list. I'm not sure, but he's gonna miss the first part of the season. And of course, they've got still Ezekiel Elliott. It's gonna have to be a prove it year. He has a very big contract though for a running back. And Tony Pollard is a good backup running back. He's better than Ezekiel Elliott in my opinion. They got Michael Parsons, one of the best young defensive players. I don't know what he is. He's everywhere, to be honest, on the pitch. And of course they got all right defensive backs. Jaron Curse in there. By the way, on wide receiver, I forgot to say James Washington also, but he broke his foot, I believe, so he's out for the foreseeable. Oh, shoulder, I forgot. He's out for the foreseeable future, part of the first half of the season. Defensively, they also got DeMarcus Lawrence, of course, and Trayvon Diggs. Let's see if Trayvon Diggs was a one-year wonder or not, because he has a very unique way of playing like J.C. Jackson when he was young. So he gets burnt a lot, but gets a lot of picks. He's too aggressive, to be honest, in my opinion. And then the Eagles, in my opinion, will be the best in the division. 11-6. It's been a long time since a team has repeated as winners of the division, and I think it's gonna be no different this year. Jalen Hurts, let's see if he does good. He's got all the weapons necessary. He's got his legs. His AJ Brown, they acquired from the Titans, is a very good player. Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, that trio is going to be great. Um, Miles Sanders, they had like the best run game last season statistically in the NFL. So let's see if that continues. They got one of the best offensive line, one of the best defensive line, with Brendan Graham and other players like that, and Javon Hargrave or Hargraves, and linebackers. I think linebackers is where it's kind of not as good, but they signed that linebacker from the Panthers. Sorry, no, from the Panthers, but I forgot his name. And they also got Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett, of course, and yeah, Hassan Reddick. That's who I meant. Kaiser White, also from the Chargers, very good linebacker there. Nakobe Dean, who they drafted pretty late because of injury issues and height issues, I think, is why people did not want to draft him. Defensive backs is honestly one of the best in the NFL. Darius Slay is a great cornerback, of course, and then James Bradbury and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Oh, that's a great defensive back. Avonte Maddox in there, but a very good defense, very good offense. The main issue is Jalen Hurts. Let's see if he can hold up well. The next division is the NFC North. I have the Chicago Bears being last, to be honest. I think they're the worst team in the NFL. I think most people have that also. They're just not a good team. They got rid of players like Khalil Mack and Kim Hicks, and offensively Allen Robinson. That's just too much for me. They got a new coach, of course. Let's see. It can't be much worse than Matt Nagy, to be honest. Justin Fields, let's see. He's a big question mark. Let's see how he does. David Montgomery's a decent running back. Darnell Mooney's pretty much their only good wide receiver. N'Keal Harry's just not it. I would know. The offensive line is just not great either. And defensive end, they got Robert Quinn, who had a great season last year, to be honest. Roquan Smith, of course. Eddie Jackson are great players. That I will give you. But it's just not it's not a good team in my opinion. 3 wins is a good amount for me. I don't think many people, apart from Bears fans, put them higher than this. I got the Lions at 7-10, of course, in third. That's better than what they're used to be honest, recently, and I think it's a fair assessment of their situation. They got good players like DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, Jameson Williams, who's gonna start the year. I think on PUP or injured reserve. I don't really know, but he's not gonna start directly. Amani Aruarie was a great surprise last year. They got T.J. Hawkinson, and they got a decent team, but I don't think they're gonna go higher than 7-10. And they got Jeff Okudah, of course. Let's see if he finally has a good year, like just once in his career. He was a third overall pick. We gotta remember that. They got Tracy Walker at safeties, decent. Alexander Zalone, Michael Brockers. Like they got some okay players. I just don't think they're good enough to go to the playoffs just yet. With Jared Goff at quarterback, I don't think he's bad. Just not. He can't elevate this team. Second, I got the Minnesota Vikings. I got them at 9-8, to be honest, and a lot of people have been worse than this. I think I am around fair in this judgment, to be honest. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I think people are split on that, and I think he's a good quarterback. Dalvin Cook is a great running back. Alexander Madison is being shopped or might get traded out. I'm not sure. Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Irv Smith at the receiving core is very good. Offensive line, they're okay. And defensive line, Danielle Hunter, Everson Griffin. Linebacker, Eric Kendricks is a real baller. Defensive backs, they got Patrick Peterson back, and they got Harrison Smith in there. So they got a pretty old team, to be honest, but a decent team also. And I think 9-8 is pretty fair. Not much higher, not much lower. I don't see them being much worse, but I don't see them being much better either. I got the Packers at first in the NFC North, as most people do, in my opinion. 12-5. They lost Devontae Adams, but much like Tyreek Hill with the Chiefs, I still think they'll be good because Aaron Rodgers will elevate the other wide receivers that they got, just like Mahomes will, in my opinion. They got Robert Tonyan at tight end, Aaron Jones at running back. Their wide receivers aren't great, but they got a rookie wide receiver that's decent. They got Randall Cobb. Just not, it's not a great team, of course. Mercy and Core, of course, but still, David Bakhtiari is potentially back. I don't know. He's practicing, but it's been 2 years. He's played one game in 2 years, so like, not sure how long he needs to practice before playing a game. Their defense though is one of the best in the NFL. Devondre Campbell breakout year. Rasul Douglas, of course, breakout year. Um, who's their edge rusher that's really good? I forgot his name. Um, but yeah, they got him. They of course the Darius Smith left, but they still have Preston Smith, and of course Jair Alexander is one of the top three cornerbacks in the NFL, but he missed a lot of last year. Um, and Adrian Amos at safety, of course. Next division is NFC South, and I've got the Atlanta Falcons being last. I think once again, just like the Bears, it's no bold statement saying that. I think most people do. I think Falcons could be decent in some games though, and I don't think they'll be rolled over. Just they'll find ways to lose, just like bad teams do. But just like Lions last year, they weren't really blown out. They were just finding ways to lose, just like Justin Tucker's 68-yard field goal. But anyways, yeah, they got a Marcus Mariota, who's a wild card quarterback. We don't know what to expect from him. Cordarrelle Patterson, Tyler Algier, and I believe Damon Williams at running back. Just it's nothing great. I mean, he was great Cordarrelle Patterson last year, but I don't know if it's gonna happen again. People are low on him this year, and of course Calvin Ridley out for the season suspension. Uh, but they got Kyle Pitts is a great tight end, great young tight end. Even though he's gonna need more red zone targets this year because he was not great last year in that domain. But they also got Drake London, and I believe Demir Bird, but I'm not sure. But Demir Bird's not great anyways. And Olamide Zacchaeus. Defensively, you got Grady Jarrett, Deion Jones. They're decent players, nothing special. But Grady Jarrett is actually pretty good though. And AJ Terrell is probably their best player in my opinion. He's one of the top three cornerbacks, maybe top five cornerbacks in the NFL. He's a lockdown corner. He's really good. Um, they got some other decent players, but just, they don't have star players apart from like AJ Terrell, Kyle Pitts, and maybe Grady Jarrett. That's the problem, and the coaching isn't good enough to make those issues seem seamless, you know. And a third, I got the Carolina Panthers, 7-10. I think it's around where they are at. They can make the playoffs just as they can miss out, as I predicted them to. Baker Mayfield trade is gonna improve them, of course, because Sam Darnold's really bad. I think their defense got worse from last year, but they had a top three defense last year, at least statistically. And I think they'll have another good defense. But the Baker Mayfield, I don't rate him much, and he's injured all the time. Like he played through injury last year, but he's still injured. Christian McCaffrey always gets injured. If McCaffrey plays the whole season, then I think they'll make the playoffs. He just always gets injured because he's that good, McCaffrey. Just injuries really, really annoy me. And fantasy owners also. Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and of course they traded for another wide receiver. Bob forgot. I'm forgetting a lot of players right now. Of course at offensive line they're okay, nothing special. Tight end they're not great though. That's the big thing. And defensive line, they got a great defensive line with Brian Burns and linebacker Shaq Thompson. Defensive backs, they've got J.C. Horn. They've got who's the other one? C.J. Henderson. C.J. Henderson, I believe. And of course, safety. Jeremy Chin is a great safety. So decent defensive backs, decent defense. Offense could be better. 7-10 seems right. I think if they had a great coach that could elevate them, they'll make the playoffs for sure. But Matt Rule is not that guy. Next is the Saints finishing second. A lot of people put Saints worse than this, but I don't understand. Saints have a great team actually. Jameis Winston was great in the first part of the season before he got injured. They were 5-2 with him, and he was finally getting rid of all these interceptions. Without the interceptions, this dude is he's elite, basically. Alvin Kamara was their whole offense last year because of injuries, but he's great. He's still there, of course. No suspension, it looks like. Michael Thomas is finally back. I don't know if he's going to find his former self, but he's still a very good player. Chris Olave and Jarvis Landry, that trio is going to be elite. And Chris Olave, I'm very high on him, as you'll see later in the awards video. Um, then there's their offensive line's good, but Trevor Penning's out for foreseeable future. Defense, they got Cameron Jordan, who's stout, very, very good. Demario Davis, linebacker, Marcus Davenport, all very good. Marshawn Lattimore. They got rid of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but they still have Tyrann Matthew, Marcus May, all these players on their defensive backs. They got one of the top three defenses, in my opinion. Them and Packers are two of the three. First, Buccaneers, I think it goes without saying, 12-5. Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, who's back. Cameron Brate is great. Pun intended, by the way. And Leonard Fournette, just a good team all around. To be honest, offensive line. Ryan Jensen's out for first. Oh wait, no. Who's the one that's out? Yeah, Ryan Jensen's out for the first. For majority of the season. And they also got rid of two players during the off season, which is a pretty bad look. But still, offensive line, they still got Shaq Mason, who they traded from the Patriots. And yeah, and on defense, they got Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Devin White, um, and all these players. Of course, no more Ndamukong Kongsu or Jason Pierre-Paul. They got John Shoya Linka, I forgot, Joe Tryon. Carlton Davis, defensive back, um, and some decent safeties also. Um, so they just got a decent team all around, and I think they'll be one of the favorites to make the Super Bowl, of course, as most people do. And finally, the final division, bro. It takes a lot of time to speak about all these teams, but we have the NFC West, which last year probably was the best division in NFL. You could definitely argue that. We had three teams in the playoffs, of course: Cardinals, 49ers, and the Rams. Fourth, I got the Seahawks. Like most people, I was pretty high on them until recently. But Geno Smith, I'm higher on him than most people are. He is frustrating to watch because he's not that good, but I really like him still. And of course, running back Chris Carson retired, but they have Kenneth Walker and Rashad Penny. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf is one of the best wide receiver duo there is. They got Noah Fant in tight end. Offensive line is an issue though, and defensive line. And they got Shelby Harris. They got Jordan Brooks at linebacker. Yeah, and defensive backs Jamal Adams and what's his name, bro? The other safety. What's the other safety's name? But they got him, so they don't have a bad team. And Pete Carroll's a good coach, but not without Russell Wilson. But we'll see how it goes this year. I still have them last in the division by quite a bit. Third, 8-9 for Cardinals. Yeah, I think D Hop, if he was here for every game and not missing 6 games for suspension, that would be different. I think they'd have 10 wins. I think he's a 2-win player. He changes. He's that good. He's a top 10 wide receiver at least. And yeah, it's bad that he's out for 6 games. But Kyler Murray just got a new contract. Let's see if he actually plays as if he deserves that new contract. James Conner at running back had a breakout year last year. And at tight end, Zach Ertz is a great tight end. He's back to his former self. And at wide receiver, Rondale Moore and Marquise Brown, who they traded from the Ravens. A lot of trades this offseason. A lot of trades. More trades than I've remembered. Offensive line is okay. Nothing special. Nothing bad. Nothing good. Defensive line lost Chandler Jones. That's big. Linebackers, they've got what's his name? Isaiah Simmons. Let's see if they can finally use him correctly. They got Buda Baker at safety. Yeah, they have a mid team. Okay, basically, not mid in bad, but just a middle of the pack team, 8-9. Nothing. They don't have a spectacular team. They don't have a real bad team. They're just there. They could definitely make the playoffs. I could definitely see that. I do not have them making the playoffs right now, but that's because. But honestly, with them, Cowboys and Vikings, they're all three really fighting for that 7th seed, and that from like April, I've been saying that, and now my predictions are here, and that is in fact the case. The Cardinals, Cowboys, Vikings for me are the 3 teams fighting for that 7th. I got Saints and 49ers for me 5th and 6th. But the Cardinals definitely could make the playoffs. I don't have them though making the playoffs. And in second place, 49ers, 10-7. They were great last season. I mean, they almost missed out on the playoffs, but a clutch moment from Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm higher on Garoppolo than most because he did make a Super Bowl and he did make an NFC Championship game 2 different years, of course. Has a great record um, with the 49ers, and maybe that doesn't mean he's great, but that means he fits the system to perfection because they're going to win, so I don't know why they want to get rid of him. And I know Trey Lance is exciting. He could be like a Mahomes athletic type, but let's see how he goes. But honestly, maybe the grass isn't greener elsewhere, but at least they have still Garoppolo, so if Trey Lance doesn't work out, they can bring in Garoppolo. But Garoppolo will play with less enthusiasm, less passion because of everything that has transpired, and I think they've done him dirty for a player that has made the championship game twice in the last 4 years. But that's just me. They got players like George Kittle, who's a beast. Deebo Samuel was an absolute stud last year, breakout year. Got a new contract. Great run game with Kyle Shanahan style offense. Elijah Mitchell in there. Offensive line is good. Defensive line, Nick Bosa is good. Arik Armstead, great. Also, Nick Bosa, great by the way, not good. Great. Linebackers, they got Fred Warner. Defensive backs, who they have? Bro, I'm just spacing out, but they have a great defense altogether. I know I'm gonna remember one just after. I just know it. But they just got a great all-around team, and I got them finishing in the playoffs at 10-7. And in first place, how could I not put the reigning NFL champions, the LA Rams, 12-5. Matthew Stafford is a hell of a quarterback. He showed it. He already showed his class with the Lions, even though he could not get playoff wins. But he was great still on a very bad team. He's now won the Super Bowl in the first season out of the Lions, and Lions fans are claiming it as a Super Bowl win for them for some reason. Stafford has as many Super Bowls in his career as Lions have playoff wins, and he's only played 1 year outside of Detroit. That must say something. Shots fired. I'm sorry, Lions. That was a straight shot, but like I like the Lions from now with Dan Campbell, but like, come on, you've done him dirty. And anyways, this is not the video for that. A running back, Cam Akers, who came back from a torn ACL in July. Wow, he came back for that and made it to December and made the playoffs even. And Eric Weddle's return also. By the way, that was weird. That was a weird time. Cooper Kupp in there. Wide receiver had an absolute breakout year, as you cannot have a better breakout year. Allen Robinson there. Of course, they don't have Robert Woods anymore. That would have been a great trio, but still Tyler Higbee. Offensive line is still very good. Defensive line, Aaron Donald, the best defensive player. Of course, he wants to hit the player. I forgot what it's called when you try to hit the object in a game, but that's what he's doing with helmets and with NFL players' heads. That's what he did. He should get a suspension. He's not going to, probably. Then they've got also, of course, Bobby Wagner from their rivals, the Seahawks. And they got just an all-around great defense. They got top 5 defense in the NFL, to be honest. Of course, with Jalen Ramsey, who I could not put in key players because I had to put Stafford, Kupp, Aaron Donald. Well, Aaron Donald and Stafford I had to put. It was between Kupp and Jalen Ramsey, but I chose Cooper Kupp. But just a great team, and they'll make the playoffs easily. They'll win the division, in my opinion. Those are my predictions. The Rams are opening up tomorrow in they're opening up the NFL season against the Bills. Of course, I'm a Patriots fan, so if the Bills win the Super Bowl, I will be in depression. Like I'm gonna put that out there right now. If the Bills win, that will be the worst. That would be the worst sporting thing that can happen. I would hate sports at that moment. But yeah, please subscribe and like the video. Subscribe if you're new. Comment down below, and I'll be making the awards video later on. I did a couple hints here and there. But yeah, it's gonna be a great. It's been long to speak about all these teams, but NFL is back. I put the F in the chat for its NFL is back. Put NFL is back with 3 exclamation marks in the chat if you're still in the video, still watching me. But thank you for watching, and see ya.